You're listening to FFOP Radio.
Reach the welcome to the show. My name is Dave, and this is FFOP Radio from FFOPradio.com. Back for another great episode. This is a special episode, a long time in the making, I feel, because it's been a while since my guest has been on. You may know him from such places as Farside the band, not the comic. Your favorite train wreck, that's always just been a band. I don't think there's a comic related to that. And a bunch of other cool shit. He's been there time and time again, but now he's back. Popeye Vogelsang back on the show. Welcome, Popeye.
Hi, so good to be here. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. Always great to speak with you and Krista. It's I know it's going to be a blast, as always.
So much to talk about. I've got some questions for you, but as you mentioned before, there's another person on the show I've got to introduce. It is Krista over there.
I'm over here.
Okay, so let's get right down to it.
I never know what to say. Like, hi, or like, what's up?
2 feet away from you.
Yeah.
Pop into like a catchphrase or something.
So you said you had a lot of questions. Do they involve laundry? Please say yes.
Well, maybe not. Let's jump into the stuff that's maybe a little more interesting. So I saw you just played a show as of this recording. It was pretty recent, right?
Yeah. I was in Tampa over the weekend. Had the honor to play a show with Field Day, which is a reincarnation of the legendary hardcore band Dag Nasty, and it was. It was outstanding. It was so incredible to go out there. And the weather was perfect, because these are the kind of things that you really kind of think about when you're 51 years old. Like, well, is the show going to be good? But what's the weather going to be like? The weather was perfect. It was so nice. So nice. Because it's still kind of early in the year, so it wasn't humid. And I spent most of the weekend just kind of wandering around, just kind of enjoying being outside and not having to have a jacket on. But the show was incredible. Man, those guys they just crushed it. It was so good. And I wanted to say this to you, Dave, because I know you're not a super punk rock guy, but I know you're friends with Mark Maxey from Slothfist.
Yeah.
If you really want to, if you want to dive deep and get a history of Dag Nasty, I got a feeling Mark probably knows those guys really well and could tell you everything you want to know about Dag Nasty Field Day. Just in case you were interested.
Well, that's the thing about Mark. He is a fountain of information, but he's very shy. But he's like a gateway to a lot of different things.
He's got a good poker face on everything.
Yeah.
I bet if you just kind of went to him and said, "Hey, have you ever heard of this band called Dag Nasty? They're now called Field Day." That'll be an entire weekend. I just have a feeling that he'll clue you in so hardcore. It'll be great.
Maybe I will, to see if I can get some action out of him. Because every time I ask him, "Hey, you want to be on the show?" He's like, "I want you to ask Eric."
He's shy.
But that's they're both great guys. I love Mark and I love Eric. Like that band, everything they do is great. But also, I think, am I misremembering? Was that? I feel like you did another show in the recent past, or am I crazy?
Oh no, you're not crazy. At least not too crazy. I played in Harrisburg, the capital of Pennsylvania.
Right.
That was New Year's weekend, and so I did a show out there. That was the first show I'd played in a little over 2 years. Mostly because of COVID, but because also I also get a little shy once in a while too. But it was a blast. It was only a couple hours away, and it was really rainy, so I didn't really get to see anything. The weather wasn't good. Again, This is what we talk about. We talk about the weather.
The weather. That's the classic deciding factor. But I'm glad to see that happening, because that I remember correctly, because when I saw, of course, social media being as it was, a couple pictures of you got released. I was like, oh, that must have been so cool. And I was like, oh my God, if there was one in the recent past, there might be more coming. And then my hopes of getting, basically a Popeye cover album off the ground closer to reality.
Hey, I've got all the videos of when we went to California.
I know.
Speaking of weather,
so those are such great videos.
Sunburn.
Yeah, I know. That was a wonderful day in June. Was it not?
The worst sunburn.
Yeah. I was under a tarp, unlike the rest of you suckers.
Yeah.
I don't know why I got.
But that was
privileged,
amazing. I don't think Popeye hasn't been. We haven't actually talked to Popeye on a recording since then, right?
Well, I don't think so.
We moved a month after that.
Yeah. No, we haven't. Just an occasional text message now and then.
Yeah.
But
well, here we are.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like if you don't get a little sunburn, then you didn't have a good.
Oh
trip.
yeah, no, totally worth it.
You got to have a little battle scar here and there.
Yeah. Like if you go to see outdoor music, almost requires some sort of after effect that it was put upon you by nature.
A bruise, sunburn.
Bruise. So you have to get irradiated by something or hit by a squirrel or something has to happen while you're outdoors.
Have you been hit by a squirrel? Is that actually happened to you?
Not hit. I mean, there was a glancing blow. I wouldn't say I took a full on
No, that's impressive though. But because I want squirrels to come to me, but wow, you actually got one to.
Yeah, sometimes it just takes that live concert going experience to really draw them out of the literal woodwork.
Gotcha.
But you're coated in them though. I can't Pennsylvania's full of squirrels though, right?
Oh yeah, they're all over the damn place. I went to Lowe's last night at like 6 or 6:30 just to go buy corn cobs because we had no corn cobs.
So
for the squirrels.
Are you out there constantly trying to get one to befriend you enough so you can touch it and stuff?
No.
That note makes me feel like it's a yes.
It's more of a fantasy,
right? But that's what I'm saying. If you're in a forested wonderland like Pennsylvania, and even here, we've got little rock squirrels and stuff, or quail. I would love to now. And you're the right person for this story. Right down the street from my new house, nothing but farmland all around. But they've got these big iron irrigation tubes that were put in God knows when. And the last remaining one that is not completely rusted away is the home to a fucking adorable little pair of screech owls that come out and hop around that pipe on my way to and from work, and I love it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Like you want them to, of course, your first thought is, God, I'd love to own one, and I'd love to have a hummingbird on my shoulder, every day, just kind of walking around, but. But it's not going to happen.
Right.
And is it good for the animal? And
the reality sets in because every day I drive by and I see those goddamn adorable. They must be 4 inches tall. They are so the little puffballs. And
of course you want to take them home.
Every day I have this fantasy getting a Batman style net shooting gun. Just be and so they just wake up in my house. But then I got to think let's say best case scenario and they don't hate me and want to claw my eyes out every second they're in here. Yeah. And we get along. I've got to now feed and house 2 owls, and I am ill-equipped for that. And I'm mature enough to admit it.
Yeah. Is this a good idea? Probably not. No, it's not. And that's the other thing that we think of. We will occasionally find a chipmunk. Not so much. You mentioned squirrels, but chipmunks and little mice that might have they might have a little wonky toe, and we're we got to bring him in. We got to take care of him, or a little bird or something. Mm-hmm. But then we have all of the cats, and and they're just going to think, oh, is that a little snack for us to kind of jump on? No, it's not.
This has given me some inspiration right here because, I've been looking into because Krista's doing this whole plant thing, and it's been drawing me into the fauna that surround the flora. And so I, looking at, maybe I should get a pet and a small one, something that doesn't take up a lot of space or time or yada, yada. I'm like, oh my God, all pets are so annoying to me now. So, but what I did was end up getting, and we have 2 of them now because we live out in the goddamn desert in the middle of nowhere. there are scorpions all over the place. So I have a huge scorpion in a bowl not 3 feet from me, living, in a properly attuned habitat for the region. And I've been looking for a name for him, and you know what I'm going to call him?
Harlow?
I was going to call him Popeye, but I think Harlow is better.
Harlow's better if it wants to kill. Because
Yeah.
that's
He's a scorpion.
is that not what? See, Popeye doesn't want to kill, but Harlow wants to kill.
No, yeah.
You really have a scorpion?
Yeah,
We have two.
Hers is so small compared to
You
mine.
have
Mine's
two.
awesome.
So, are you in the back of your mind? Are you thinking, all right, kid, if you act up, one of these is going to be under your pillow one night?
Well, okay, so that's the thing. Like with these two scorpions,
I didn't hear a no in what you just said.
Well,
like you're planning this.
I don't want to say yes and I don't want to say no because right now he's so young I cannot hold that over his head like a sword of Damocles. So he can't get intellectually, like I can't threaten him with intellectual threats at this point.
He's only 3.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything intellectual about threatening someone with a scorpion. I think even a toddler would know.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to hold a bowl under his nose and be like, guess where this is going? But, so here's the thing. Since they're both...
But you're thinking about it.
I mean... Not really, because by the time he gets old enough to care,
I like how you're defending yourself as if you're not really thinking about it.
well, because they're wild caught, and one was caught inside the house and one was caught right outside the back door. It's not like they are alien creatures around here, so
I hate them.
Whereas some people would be like, "Yeah, Chris doesn't like them."
Yeah, Chris, I'm with you. I don't want to look at one in a bowl either.
I love mine. She's lukewarm on hers. I love mine.
I'm used to looking at them in the bowl now because I can tell that they cannot get out. They can't climb glass, and he's told me that a million times, but I'm like, are you sure? Because that one's really trying
now
hard.
we've got empirical evidence.
Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want them either any more than a tarantula. No.
See, that's the thing. They're not puppies. You're not going to be petting them. There's something you look at from behind glass.
My ass is not sticking my hand anywhere near either of these
And here's the
things.
thing. I would rather have one know, or I would rather know where one is at all times than to think about all the ones where I don't know where they are.
Yeah, we got 2 blacklight
This one,
flashlights.
I know,
for
bam.
Ha-has.
He's in that bowl.
God, yeah, I'll take 10 Harlows over one scorpion. Thank you very much.
All right, but yeah,
I want
Harlow
a
the
Sphinx.
scorpion.
I want a Sphinx cat so bad. They're so
A
cute
Sphinx
and
cat?
ugly at the same time. And they're allergen free because I don't have any hair.
Yeah, but then we're tied down to a pet again. The whole thing, like, I'm entering that time in my life where, like, we're going to be doing goddamn vacations with a child. Like, so we're going to be doing the smattering of all of them. Disneyland, SeaWorld, yada, yada, yada.
That's a vacation for me too because I've never been to.
Yeah, so we can't nail ourselves to this place with another shit machine.
I'm not saying tomorrow, but a cat can at least be left alone a lot longer.
Yes.
But
as far as shit machines go, cats are probably the best shit machines that you could come across.
You can train them to poop in the toilet.
Who's gonna like? Who has the time? Like Jesus Christ.
I know. I'm
people have the time to train their animals to do cutesy shit or functional shit like that.
Don't have jobs.
Are not regular people. They're people who have time to blow on YouTube and TikTok and shit like that, or stay-at-home moms. Like I'm not bashing the practice of teaching your pets to do something zany and or like legitimately useful.
But you willingly had a child. You're doing that right now.
Yeah, isn't that wild? I wish I, at least, okay, here's the thing. It's the most elaborate pet you can get without getting something that can utterly kill you. Because, like, let's say you wanted to get a monkey roughly his size. Like, a chimp his size could literally rip my arms and legs off. But my kid can't even come close to that. So he's totally
not
safe.
yet.
Well, unless he becomes a bodybuilder, then I'll
give it some time.
Yeah, if he breaks through my door 20 years from now, like hulking out, and he rips my arms and legs out of my sockets, I'll know I should have put the scorpion under his pillow.
Yeah, okay, just planting that now because you've heard of the Menendez brothers, of course, and
yeah. So maybe I'll go easy on the scorpions.
So be kind, rewind.
That's ultra relevant today. People are always rewinding things.
Yeah.
Love tape-based media 2022. But I might only be halfway ironic on that because fucking shooting like photography, film is coming back big with like the younger generation. So I can't imagine cassettes aren't far behind. We had an 80s boom. We got a 90s boom right on the corner.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, cassette tapes have been, I mean, I don't super have my pulse on this kind of stuff, but vinyl has made a huge comeback.
Yeah.
And cassettes have kind of been following that up in probably maybe the last 5 or 10 years.
Yeah. So here that broaches an interesting thing that I swear to you is going to happen, and we're seeing the grassroots of it now. We had that big 80s boom, like the Stranger Things of it all, the 80s of it all, like the Ghostbusters reboots. In the next year or two, we're going to have a 90s renaissance. I hope to God, and I want two things to happen. I want Jinko jeans to come back. Dear God, do I want Jinko jeans back, and for those to be acceptable again, because I loved the hell out of those things. And two, I hope, with a 90s resurgence, 90s punk comes back, and we can see like, hey, more of that, because more, not obviously Far Side too, but like just to see that sort of 90s renaissance of punk and grunge and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, as a 90s fanboy, I've had to sit and stew as everybody wallows in the 80s, and I go, no, it didn't get good until 10 years later.
Right.
So my fingers are crossed for 90s.
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of happening, and as that old saying goes, everything old is new again, and it definitely happens. And then before we know it, when I was coming back from the airport a couple days ago, my Uber driver was like, "Hey, do you like CDs?
Do you like them?"
Oh my God! Yeah, the binder?
Exactly. And we start talking about CDs and just tapping into this conversation about vinyl and then cassettes. And a few people have told me like, yeah, CDs are going to be like the new vinyl, like before you know it, man. Like just hang on. If you have CDs, they're going to be worth something someday.
I wish my car had a CD player in it still. Damn it!
I don't think they're bullshitting, because like even in my short, pathetic existence on this earth, I have seen it happen already. Because like when I was a kid in the 90s and coming about and was conscious of the world, everybody was wallowing in the 60s.
Yep.
And so the 2000s came, and we had that weird sort of like what you could call disco of the era, where like when that new metal shit happened and like the disco equivalent. Like we are right on track for a 90s boom.
I wore bell bottoms in high school.
Yeah. As I'm saying, like the Jinkos are nothing but an echo, a modern day interpretation, a digestion, if you will, of the bell bottoms.
Yeah.
And so like we would get to now see, because like the 60s squeezed through the 90s and now pushed into the 2020s. I don't know what pants are going to look like.
Yeah. I try to keep mine thin and lean as possible. And,
these girls
I just do what my
up
wife
to their
tells
boobs.
me, and she's like, "These look good." Okay, but no, I totally get what you're saying, because when I was in high school, everybody got super into. This is in the late '80s. Everyone was super into the Grateful Dead,
right?
And I'm like, it's like 1989. Like the are they even a band anymore?
Right.
And this is in Southern California, and all these kids were like. All these white kids were like had long hair and dreadlocks, and they were like, "Hey man, you going to the Dead show?" And I was like, "I don't know what a Dead show is. I'm going to the punk show." Is that the same thing? Dead
Kennedys?
Know. Yeah. But it was definitely the same kind of thing. And
if you stick around long enough, you see how time and culture acts as kind of like an accordion turned on its side. Like you can see the layers of the years and how they sort of leech off of one another. And that is so wild to think about now because, if you're, people, it's not like a 20 to 30 year cycle where we just basically dig up the past and go like, oh man, could you imagine if we took this and made it today? And then we do that and everybody goes, oh man. And then we have like a fucking decade of the 80s back from 2010 to 2020.
Yeah, it's like, it's going to be like the 90s and New Age put together.
Oh man, I hope this doesn't kill my love of the 90s.
Well, I will say that I have Rubbermaid bins full of punk rock T-shirts and hardcore and skater T-shirts from the 90s, but I can't wear them now because back then in the 90s the style was to wear the baggiest clothes.
Right? Totally.
So they're all like extra large and double XL, and I weigh like $160 wet on a good day, so I don't look good in an extra large shirt. But I'm hanging on to those shirts, bro.
Oh, dude!
And like one of these days,
totally.
When I'm well into my 60s, it's gonna look good.
Yeah.
So I've got a quick story about that concept that I blew out to 11. So yeah, I loved everything in the 90s and the baggy T-shirts. So. And this was like probably, I don't know, 1998, 1999. So we were burning out on that concept. But I had a big fat friend who worked at a big fat store. And I said, dude, get me the biggest T-shirt you have access to at that store. And it was somewhere between a 6 and an 8XL. And I shit you not, I put it. Yes, I can't remember exactly. I think
that's called a dress.
Yeah, it was basically a muumuu that said, God damn it, I can't even remember what it said, but the letters were as big as a fucking billboard. And I wore that to school once as a performance art piece because, again, a shirt that size was like a dress. And I felt like less in the 90s and more in the 80s because the neck hole kept pulling one of my shoulders out. And so I was like fucking Tawny Katane. Yeah.
Did you put a belt around it at least?
Yeah, one of those big fat ones made out of alligator.
Okay, good. Well, at least you accessorized it properly.
Yeah, but yeah,
that's important.
I needed to know what that was like turned up at full volume, and presented an opportunity like that. I took it immediately, of course.
Obviously.
I tell you,
I wish you had any kind of photographic evidence of that.
Oh my God, me too. Because
or you could recreate it now. I bet you could find it. And
probably
8XL. Did I hear that correctly?
It was somewhere between 6 and 8 because I
didn't know they went above 3.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah. So that here's the point of that story is, Popeye, I'm going to tell you and everybody listening is anytime you get an opportunity to turn any of these concepts up to 11. Fucking do it. Like,
do it.
I like, let's say my friend never worked at a big and tall store and I was never afforded that opportunity. Is my life any worse? No. But since I jumped on that like a fucking, like a drowning man clinging to a log, I was like, you have to do this for me. And yeah, it made my life so much better. Yeah. And like everybody I knew had tried it on, so it made the rounds. My brother would wear it, like all my friends, like we tried to fit as many people as we could in it. It was wild.
How many did you get in there at once?
I think we topped out at like 6, and then we started to get choked to death when the 7th one tried to come through the neck hole.
Only 6?
Yeah, and so it was, like the a really shitty looking Hydra.
My God. But yeah, like you said, a life experience, and at the very least, all these years later, you have a great story to tell.
Yeah. And for the price of nothing. I mean, it felt like
for the price of nothing.
Yeah, it was like $28, which at the time, like I was making $6.10 an hour, and I felt like this was gonna like utterly destroy me financially for the rest of my life. But goddamn it, I felt like it was worth it.
I think that was a good investment.
Yeah, I nailed it on that one.
Well, good on you.
Oh man.
Oh. Now I want to go dig out some of my T-shirts and see how many cats I can fit inside of one of them, one of my 2XLs.
Just like rubber band off the neck and the armholes and just start shoving them in like Santa's sack.
Not Harlow.
Not Harlow.
No.
Harlow can get one all by herself.
yourself.
Yeah, she'll get her own rubber band.
Well, so what else is happening on your end, man? Are you tentatively planning for more shows? Are you just hoping that more come along? What's up?
No, I mean I don't really plan things or book things. It really just kind of happens when it happens. The Tampa show was that was more than 2 years in the making.
Wow.
Yeah, like I think 2 years to the day, to the weekend at least, it was supposed to happen. And I was in the process of confirming my flight. I was on my computer like, oh, check it for your flight, blah, 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 blah. And then the promoter texted me and said, show's canceled, don't get on that plane. And that was because that was right when COVID really started to get crazy and everything started to go into lockdown. So I've had this flight credit for 2 years.
Oh, man.
And so luckily it was still valid. So thank God. And so so the promoter Tom Pearson reached out to me and he said, yeah, this is happening. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I better be there. And so booked a flight, and so it was great that we could it was a great show and it was a fun weekend. Mostly all of us just kind of had a group sigh of relief that we could finally put this behind us.
Right.
And like, okay, now it's done and now it's over and we can get back to our regularly scheduled programming. And so that was a blast. Otherwise, no, I've just been home, like I mentioned, doing some laundry and
Couponing.
well, laundry is important, and just getting back to business, being a dude in Scranton. That's what I do.
Well, I think now that, at least we've all got the feeling now that things are sort of loosening up, because all of my musician friends and people I follow on Facebook are going out and doing more shows. So I feel like there is that sort of sense of relief in the air, which is nice, because just even to go outside, I'm sure you felt this too, but it feels like the act of going outside, interacting with people, or like if you have to go to a store, it's just like there's this like background white noise of stress that just sort of cooks in the back of your mind, no matter how much you want to be like, yeah, everything's fine, like we're all blah, blah, blah. But, even the best of everybody has been hearing that in the background, I feel like constantly.
Yeah. We live in a small borough, so there hasn't been that level of craziness during this whole thing. But you still kind of notice it once in a while, like when you go to the grocery store and you're trying to use your coupons, and
right, yeah, of course.
And then you see somebody with way more paper towels and toilet paper in their shopping cart that they need, and then I think a lot of times that creates the
panic.
The panic, because then you think, oh, should I be getting more toilet paper? And
right, and then the mob mentality kicks in.
Yeah, and and granted, they're having a lot of global supply chain issues, but I think it creates a lot of hysteria where there isn't necessarily hysteria, because there's still just because there's no organic romaine lettuce heads, but there's the regular romaine lettuce heads, doesn't mean that there's a problem. Just maybe the truck got stuck in traffic or something. And I think we're gonna live. There's plenty of other fresh leafy greens out here.
I gotta call back to the 90s again for this, because this is another thing that I've seen flip on its head, because I feel like, growing up in the 90s, if you saw someone buying in bulk, like the big toilet paper or whatever, you were like, oh, that person's crazy. Or like they just like, I just went to Costco and I got like that whole joke, and they'd play that old song and dance. But like now I feel like everybody is like looking over. So it's so funny to have seen that been like, oh, it's like a running gag where like you'd see someone pushing somebody out and you're like, that is a shitheel. And now you look at someone and you go, do they know something I don't?
Right. Am I missing something? I don't watch the news.
And chances are they don't know something you don't know. They're just
it's
they're
just
being
as
stupid,
likely
and they're doing something somebody else did.
Yeah, or it's just as likely they have got the coupons or they found like whatever, or they're one of those people who have like 47 kids or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. They might be Mormons. Maybe they need all that toilet paper all of a sudden. Just let them get their toilet paper, man.
Yeah.
Get what you need. Get what you need. Get what you need. And just, like in the 70s when there was the gas shortage and there was those huge lines at the gas stations, it's like, but where are you going? Like what do you need to...
Right.
Are you just going to the grocery store? Why do you need to fill up every little gas can that you have? Like, is that really necessary? No, probably not.
We don't even like as a species, we don't even wait for a threatening of a shortage to like go ahead and start stocking up. It's like, hey, here's the thing that we might, and then everybody's like, oh my God. And so everybody starts cramming like jars of baby food because God forbid you run out of regular food. You're going to start eating that. Like, and then you got Alpo at places.
Yeah. Cause when do you ever hear any report saying, all right, we have a major shortage. You need to go stock up on everything you could possibly get your hands on right now. It's not fucking Red Dawn.
Right.
It's not. Like everything always levels out. Always does.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a lot of people just want to. It's like they want to have a catastrophe. They want it to be panic mode.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. And
okay.
Go do your thing. Like I'll eat my ramen and I'll be fine.
I think I get it though, because being a prepper became like a cultural thing. Like they had multiple shows on different networks.
Oh yeah.
Where like being a weirdo was like glorified.
Yeah. I think that really only enhances the hysteria.
Right. It's the underbelly.
It causes more hysteria. I'm not a fan of it.
Right. This is
like,
the.
You need a head of lettuce? Go get a head of lettuce. It's like right there. I can get a head of lettuce.
Yeah. This is the seamy underbelly of basically like letting, like, since everybody's opinion is valid, like everybody gets equal weighted opinion, even if you're a fringe group. So people like look at a prepper show or like the idea that a prepper is a thing and like, oh my God, those people now are growing in number and then we're all going crazy. And like, here's the thing. I've completely checked out as far as that's concerned. Like, you know, Krista does all the grocery shopping through ClickList and yada, 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 or just picking up orders. So I can't even imagine that world anymore. Like I haven't set foot in a grocery store outside of like picking up a few odds and ends in the morning, like as it opens right before work, that it's almost like if I got into a saltwater aquarium and like tried to talk to an octopus, like that world is so far removed.
Well, like when I pick up groceries, like Sprouts, I love Sprouts. I will always love Sprouts pickup because they're so good at getting the groceries right. But I'll always wear a mask still. I don't care if I'm outside and the other dude is dropping off my groceries and he doesn't have a mask on. Like I'm still going to put it on. I walk into the store, nobody has a mask on.
Well, that's whatever. That's the thing. It's loosening up and everybody's sort of trying to feel that sigh of relief.
That's fine. I'm still going to keep mine on to give myself a sigh of relief.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, it's not...
Well, one of the wonderful things about wearing a mask is that you can mouth all kinds of nasty shit.
My eyes are very
other people.
telling, though, so I probably can't.
I don't know.
Yeah,
no, you could say "fuck you" under your breath to everybody, and they're not going to see it. It's great.
Yeah, it's so weird. I feel like, you know, but this is like every other time to be alive. I feel like if I had access to a microphone and the same level of consciousness I do now and I was living through whatever other time period, it's always weird. Weird shit's always happening.
Did you see the article about how researchers or scientists discovered like micro microorganisms of plastic in our bloodstream because we breathe all the time. We breathe it, we eat it, like just tiny little microcosm specks of plastic, and now it's in our bloodstream. See that, yeah. And I'm like, if we wear a mask, I wonder if we'd get less plastic in our.
No, like plastic's everywhere. It lasts forever, and there's nothing we can do about it.
But it's crazy. And now they're like, well, could this like potentially be like what's causing certain diseases? And like they have so much, like it opened up an entire world of research.
The problem, here's the problem with humanity. We only know what we know, and the rest is a complete blank. But we're so fucking full of ourselves. We go, oh my God, look at how much we know. Of course. Like, yeah, I'm sure everybody who was brushing mercury onto their teeth during the Victorian era felt like they were fucking geniuses, right?
I mean, like, really smart.
Yeah, everybody like using electroshock therapy at home, or rubbing sulfur into their face, or drinking arsenic for, stomach cramps. That's the thing. We don't know what we're doing to ourselves until oftentimes it's too late. Mm-hmm. But that's life. Everything that everything living is doing exactly that. Like when you watch something like a nature documentary, and you watch a caterpillar walk through a line of ants and then get devoured. You could be screaming at your TV, look out! There's ants! It's still going to walk into the fucking thing because it only knows what it knows. And if its mind is somewhere else thinking about a juicy leaf or however it meets its end, that's where we are. But we like to blow smoke up our ass and go, aha, but we're smart and we know exactly how to fix all these problems. That's how cryonics was born.
I just thought it was crazy.
You should look into that shit. But yeah, that's where we are. Like our lifespan, is pretty good. If the worst thing we can do is wipe ourselves off the planet, like it's been wiped clean dozens of times before by forces stronger than us. So relax.
Yeah. Go have fun. Enjoy the weather. Collect some stuff.
Yeah. That's,
I have more plants. I want more.
Yeah. I want to talk about plants with you, Krista. David, if we may.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Apparently, I'm not allowed to talk about laundry.
I mean,
which
we can.
I would really like to talk about, but
listen, if you want to get into the nitty gritty about literally anything, I'll do it. I'm worried that we're going to go down this laundry path and it's going to be a false flag operation. I'm like, okay, Popeye, let's get into it. And you go, oh, whoops.
What? How can laundry be a false flag situation? Laundry is very important. It's very important. It's very important.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, but you don't. I don't feel like you're on board with it.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. I'm not on board with it simply because, like, growing up, I feel like I was misled on a lot of the things I did, as in, like, household duties. Because, like, it was basically, like, just do it. I've basically every job I've had, including being a child, I've just jumped into. And the higher-ups go, yeah, figure it out, goddammit. And so the way I did, Chris does the laundry now, but the way I did laundry was I would, grab as much as I could and cram as much as the washer would hold. Eyeball the soap. I had no idea there were measuring lines on any of it.
Yeah. So the more popular brands like All and Biz and All Temperature.
I think we were tied.
That meant nothing to you? Nothing at all?
Well, outside of all of the lovely, like, clothes washing commercials that were so popular again back in the 90s, I knew that a lot of them
commercials. They sold me.
Yeah, me too. Like one of the things I was always looking forward to as a child was the laundry, because then I would like have access to all the soaps in the world. But no, we always just got the cheapest shit. So you make do. I didn't have access to all the shears and the bolds.
We get like, what do we get? Tide free and clear now, I think.
Yeah. Oh, but here.
Yeah. No, Tide was always a good one. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this. I do and can appreciate someone who is a laundry wizard, because one time and one time only, I met a laundry wizard, and God damn it, Patrick, if you're listening, I'll find you. So I was working at this.
See, I want to hear about this.
See, I'm about to tell you the story. So I was working at an assisted living facility with 3 or 4 other people on my shift, and one guy, Patrick, super nice guy, really interesting, hilarious, full of fun stories. He's like, hey. This feeds into the story. So he had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma at the time, and he was very open about it. And he was like, hey, man, I'm always down there getting chemo, and I rob them blind of scrubs. He's like, do you want some of these scrubs? Like, they're really comfortable. I said, hell yeah, of course I do. So the next day, he shows up with a plastic bag tied up that looked like a professional present you'd get like in fucking Saks Fifth Avenue. So I open this thing, and there are 2 pairs of beautifully folded scrubs stolen from the hospital that he got his chemo from. And
nice.
They smelled, I almost cried in front of him. They smelled so good. And the smell lasted for like days. I feel like it even lasted through one of my shitty washes. Like, I can still smell how good they were. And I was like, Patrick, how the hell did you do that? And he's like, oh, it's easy. I was like, what? He's like, this, and this. I was like, wait. And then he was gone out of my life forever.
A laundry wizard.
Yeah.
See, you talk a lot of shit, but good laundry is a good life.
Yeah, I can recognize game. Like, he was like the Merlin of all, or the Gandalf of cheer, whatever. he had it all, and I was like, oh my God. So, and I kept those until they were literally tattered rags. Like, I wore them until, and not only that, but they were like keeping in theme, were like 2 sizes too large.
So, getting back to the 90s.
Yeah, it was totally.
Yeah.
It felt very.
Bring it back someday.
Yeah. Okay. Please.
That's absolutely lovely. I that's a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it was a wild time, and that. So yeah, I get the importance of laundry. However. Like, my day has so many hours in it.
I don't like what you're about to say. I'm already not liking what you're about to say.
Yeah, I would love to give everything in my life an 11, but everything works out to about a 4 apiece. And here's the thing: if I did not have the churning grind engine that is a child that still requires near constant supervision. If not for his own safety, for the fact that he won't break any of my cool stuff.
That's fair.
When your brain burns 20% of your body's calories, and so if you're on yellow alert constantly, that is a huge tax. So I feel like every time my kid is either at his grandma's house or like finally down for a nap or sleep, and I go, yes, time for me. My brain realizes it's burned everything I've had, and I go, doo.
Yeah, it's true. I've seen it happen.
So everything gets a solid 4 out of me.
I feel like I run on all cylinders all day, and then like 9 o'clock comes around, and like David's already asleep on the couch, and I'm like, I guess I should just go to bed.
So do you try to, Krista, keep everything at a 4? Because I just have Harlow and a bunch of cats and a couple of rabbits, so I'm not going through what I shouldn't say going through. I'm not experiencing what you are experiencing, but I'm not good with levels. Like, I'm either at a level or I'm at a -2.
Oh,
it goes up and down all day, and but I also can get by on very little sleep. So, and I don't have a regular job. So it's curious to me how people are able to get up at a certain time every day and show up. So, Krista, what do you feel like? What's your number on a scale of 1 to 10 on a daily basis?
I don't know. I feel like I want to say a 10, but I know it's not. It's probably like a 7 or an 8. I feel like I'm a steady 7 or an 8 all day.
All day
until David gets home from work, and then I probably knock it down to like a 6 or a 5. And then when Elliot goes to bed and like we eat dinner, and then I'm like a 3.
But here's the thing: your 7 is a scattered 7.
Yes.
Your 7 is a 7 of bits and pieces. Like my 4 is a 4 that I'll sit down and slowly work through a project. Your 7 is 7 over here, 7 over there, 7 over here, 7 back there, 7 over here for a little bit, 7 over here, 7 over here thinking about the other 7 that hasn't started yet.
My 7 is a to-do list in my brain that I just go everywhere on.
Yeah, so it's the scale is confusing because the scale isn't a line, it's a sphere.
Yes.
And so her 7 is all over the goddamn place. Whereas I try to keep my 4 consistent because I know logically I cannot give anything my attention for very long in certain circumstances. So if I just like put my head down and run through it like a rhinoceros beetle, not fast, but sturdy, things will get done. And eventually when he's old enough to like, not require any attention, I'll go, whew, start to the fun again.
Now you can go up to like a 5 possibly, or a 4.5.
And then we'll do stuff like, that requires the functionality that he does not have yet as a still, what's a little more than a toddler?
He's a toddler.
He's not toddling. He is sturdy as hell. I always think of toddler as still unstable on their feet.
No, a toddler is a toddler until they go to kindergarten, and then they're a kindergartner.
No, this is bullshit.
They're a kid.
I refuse to believe that. I'm making up a new system, and I'd like to have your endorsement, Popeye, as the celebrity. Since they stopped daylight savings time, I feel like a bunch of legislation can get pushed through right now. I say toddler stops at 2 and 3 months.
What, toddler legislation? Is that what we're talking about now?
Yeah, I say we start a new group, the American Toddler Rights Association. Uh-huh. We start collecting donations, maybe funnel a little bit out of the country for some discreet bank accounts. Something like that. Politics is a lot of money, and I feel like now is a good time to start sneaking. Because again, the daylight savings things happened, and I never, ever, ever thought that would happen in my lifetime.
That's true.
It'll probably be repealed though, because
that would be insane.
I was reading an article about how they tried this in the early 70s, and everybody hated it, and so they went back to the old way because everyone's on their circadian rhythms, and
I don't know. I maybe it's because Arizona's never had it.
And dude, I'm not a fucking Karen. Like, I don't mind changing the clocks. Like, I don't give a fuck. It takes like 15 minutes. Like, change your clocks.
Well, 15 minutes? That's a long time.
Yeah, Popeye owns a lot of clocks, but that's not the annoying.
I do
part.
have a lot of clocks. There's a lot of clocks. I try to be punctual. It's important.
But
it's a priority.
The annoying part is the week between week to 2 weeks. You lose appointments and frustrating mishaps. Okay.
You're dealing with people who after 2 weeks still don't know how to change their clocks.
Well, no, not that. It's just
are we talking about you?
No, like the excuse is just like, oh, I'm still not used to blah, blah, blah. And it's only an hour. But like on this show, back in the old days, when it was me, Adam, and Andy, we did that shit for 10 years. And every time it was spring forward or fall back, seriously, it was always like, wait, what time is it there?
Yeah, it's an hour.
I know. But since I'm the only one who's got sanity in the U.S., I'm always like, this is ridiculous. We don't need it anymore. And everybody's like, oh no, Dave, it's like an American. It's like if I were to say, let's stop playing baseball forever. That is what I feel like. People give me the reaction to it. I'm like, daylight savings is stupid.
Well, it's funny because people because obviously I'm from Connecticut. We did it. I moved here. We didn't do it. I thought it was weird. And then now that I'm here, I've been here for 10 years, 11 years, whatever.
Get to keep that hour.
Everybody around is like, oh yeah, I get an extra hour of sleep. And then they bitch, oh my God, I get one less hour of sleep or whatever. I'm like,
you're not going to notice.
It's the only thing it serves to do, like let's say you're a farmer and this is a farming time. Great.
Well, and that's important. Agriculture.
But it's just now, it's just like something that annoys literally everybody because even if you're like, and I know you are, Popeye, you are one of these dudes who is on the ball who will take the 15 minutes twice a year to go around and hit every clock and watch in your house. But we all have friends and relatives who are complete numbnuts and are going to be that person who is like, the plastic bag hanging off the luxury car, and you go, what the
Well, not only that, but like a lot of people on my Facebook are all back east, like people I went to high school with and stuff, and they have kids, and so they're like, oh my god, these kids won't go to sleep because it's so light outside, and they're all like, because it's I did that. I remember when I was a kid and I had to go to bed and it was still partially light out, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? It's not even dark yet.
It's nuts. Yeah. Everybody's crazy, and there's no way to get around it. That's the experience of being human.
But then once you become an adult, and you can explain this to a child, hey, you're going to be happy when you get home after work and it's still light out. You're going to like it. Mm-hmm. Trust me. But you can't explain that to anybody any more than, when you get up for work and you're like, where's the sun? This might not, oh, there's the sun. Yeah.
This might not surprise you, seeing as how I'm like not like anybody else. But like now that the sun is coming up and I have to drive to work in daylight, I feel like a vampire. Like I'm racing the sunrise to my office, and I'm like, getting my hair all slicked back, and I pull my cape up and I go, like driving to work or anywhere. I love driving at night, but driving to work in the dark was such a pleasurable experience, because no matter where you look, you're not getting sun in your eyes. And now I'm getting it all over the place because everybody's got big trucks and there's chrome all over the place. And I'm having to, it's just again, it's like daylight savings time.
It's a burning sensation.
Yeah. And here in Arizona, every reflection adds another couple of degrees. And so everybody's got, mirrors will hit you in the face and just instant spontaneous combustion, like a small quarter-sized ring of fire on my forehead. I have to vigorously slap before my brain fries.
So what did you want to know about plants?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I want to know everything because I have a black thumb. And
start with photosynthesis.
We try to, speaking of vampires, every year I try to plant Harlow into the ground. She's not into it so much. I don't get it.
Are you planting her in the pet cemetery? Because they always come back. I wouldn't go up that road.
Well, she's just not a team player. But every year we have this little patch in the backyard where we used to have an old rabbit hutch that we now made into a shelter. But it was just kind of sitting in the middle of the backyard, and then we moved it a few years ago. But now there's this 4 by 6 foot, like perfect rectangular area of where grass will not grow. Huh. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll make a little, make a little garden out of that. And so a few years ago, I stumbled upon an article or a video about replanting vegetables that are going bad, and you literally just stick them into the ground and something will grow up. Man, I had chives all over the place. It was great. and then I got really psyched about it, and so I've been trying to like make a little garden bed. But for the last 2 years, I got the wood picked out, I got it all set up. Every time I went to Lowe's or Home Depot, they were either out of the wood that I wanted to get, or the saw wasn't working. Like, when you go and you're like, hey, can you cut this? Like, I don't have a truck. Can you cut this piece of wood for me? Oh no, the saw's broken. Or there was nobody on staff who could cut it for me.
So are you trying to get the wood to make the perimeter?
Yeah, just to make a little garden bed.
That's what I want to do.
Just a little thing. Yeah. And I got it so mapped out, man. And
well, I have a question.
Yes.
So you say that grass refuses to grow there.
Yes.
Are you not worried that other plants will refuse to grow there?
Well, you got chives.
Yeah.
Or are we talking about this is the place?
And carrot tops.
Okay.
And by the way, carrots grow really slowly. The rabbits love the carrot tops.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So you just so this is, you just kind of make a little perimeter, and then you throw in just some of that general earth kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Put some
soil.
Put some proper soil on top of it, and then just start planting shit.
Put a tarp down in case so you don't get weeds too.
Well, like,
okay. So now we're getting into the nitty gritty here, Krista, because I've read that those are not really a good idea because if the weeds the weeds are still going to come up, and then you got to rip out the tarp just to get rid of the weeds.
Well, it's not like a tarp. It's like a
one of those like meshy things.
Like a meshy thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the
I don't have a lot of money, so I don't want to.
That's true.
I don't want the expenditure.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
But,
any hobby that involves
otherwise,
anything alive. So like, everybody feels like plants should be easy, but they're difficult because what you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to do with them, is trying to replicate where they live artificially in your house, which seems nearly impossible. Like if you were trying to like have a cloud in a bottle and have it strike little bolts of lightning, like that's what you're trying to do. Because like especially here with all these tropical plants that we've got all over the house, and all of these misters and humidifiers going, the inside of this house is nothing like the environment of this state, and it's only by that virtue that these things are alive.
Yep.
But it's so brilliant. Like, and I've done that too. Like I love to try to grow things from seeds, and it takes time and it takes a lot of patience and a lot of care. But when you see that little sprout come up, you want to fucking run around and take a lap, like a victory lap, because you're so fucking psyched. Like, look at that.
You know what you need to get? You need to get an Aero Garden. I have 3 of them on our kitchen counter, and I'm currently growing oregano, salad greens again, some petunias, lavender, vanilla.
We've eaten a lot of harvestings.
Yeah. See, this is what I want to hear about, Krista. Like, I want to hear you talk about planting because you clearly know more than I do.
We need a whole podcast on plants.
Well, those Aero Gardens make it easy.
Why not? What? Like, there's a point to this podcast? We just kind of go.
No, I mean, there's never been.
With it.
So the Aero Gardens are pretty great. I mean, there's expensive ones, which I don't have, and then there's the cheaper ones, which I do have, because they all do the same thing. There's a little filter in there, and you add water, and you add plant food, you put the little pods in, and you just wait. And then the other thing I have is called Leca, which are little clay balls that I have. I've got jalapenos growing in them. I've got basil growing in them.
The beauty about all of this is like it's kind of like me in photography. I'm going to liken it to that because like we have come so far technologically speaking, where like there was a time in history where we would have to be working like 10 to 12 hours a day to produce the vegetables we now do casually on the counter.
Yeah.
But
when you still get that little leaf of basil,
I'm not
like
saying
one leaf of basil, and you can throw it into that that pasta that you're making. Like, how proud are you? Like,
well, no, I'm not denigrating the hobby nor the work associated with it. What I'm saying is like we've come so far as a species that like we've turned what used to be the thing,
a necessity,
a necessity, a bare bones necessity, to now like, oh boy, in 6 weeks we'll have lettuce on the counter or tomatoes or jalapenos or whatever, and I fucking love that because it opens up every hobby just about to everybody because the technology is such where the entry point is so easy. It's going to do nothing but make you look for the harder stuff and get into it.
Yeah.
Whether you buy a camera and shoot automatically, whether you buy an Aero Garden and do nothing but pop the pods in like you're making Keurig cups.
Right.
If you're the type of person who is curious, you're going to get into the part that you've gotten into.
Oh, yeah. And it's a crazy rabbit hole because so I did the Aero Gardens. Now I'm on the Leca thing where I have a bunch of my plants and my rare plants in Leca. And then I saw this article about growing peppers in soda cans. So now I have like 4 seltzer cans filled that are growing red bell peppers in them in my little greenhouse that I have inside.
Yeah, we've got so many greenhouses in this house.
It's seltzer. So what is the advantage of the seltzer cans?
It was just like a competition that I read about. It was who could grow the best pepper in a can.
Oh,
and I was
just for
I'm gonna do it.
reference, the seltzer can is no significance.
No.
We drink seltzer instead of soda.
It's just
That's the only significance.
It's just a can. Whatever can you want.
I wasn't sure if there was like.
Just whatever can.
Just a can. So I cut the top off.
Just a vessel.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
They did it in a can, whatever. So I did that because we had them. And now I have 4 cans with soil and a bunch of red bell pepper stalks growing, and then I have celery and Swiss chard and pickling cucumbers, hopefully. It all inside. And I want to make outdoor raised gardens because I tried an outdoor greenhouse and then it got destroyed and that didn't work.
I don't know, man. I'm still skeptical because it gets so hot here. Like a greenhouse is for heat, I get it, but here it would be like 1,000,000 degrees.
Well, an outdoor raised garden beds I want to make with cinder blocks. Anyway, I just planted some loofah seeds in some pots. Those do really well in the summer.
Loofah seeds?
Yeah, like those
like the sponge.
Yeah. They grow really well out here.
I'm familiar with what a loofah is. I wasn't aware that you could grow them in your house.
Well, they're outside.
Continue.
So I potted them outside, and they do really well through the hot summers here, I guess. A friend of my Facebook group sent me some. And then I just started a business.
Wait. No, you're kind of glazing over the loofahs right now. Are you going to, do you intend to, wash yourself with these?
I don't really know. I just wanted to grow them because they're pretty.
You still wanted to grow them.
And if people want them, I'll give them to people. I don't need 50 loofahs.
Well, I feel like you have to, there's got to be something beyond just pulling them off. There's got to be some sort of processing.
You shuck them like corn. You shuck it. You shuck the skins off.
I wonder if you can wash yourself with corn as easily.
Yeah. No.
Instead of butter, using
going in so many different.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Irish Spring. Corn.
Let's circle back here. So you're growing sponges. That's what you're telling me?
Yeah, I don't know a lot about loofah. So I just know.
Well, you know more than I do, so clue me in.
They grow like vines. So like you can get a trellis, you can trellis them or whatever. I'm gonna try and put them up. We have these wooden poles of a extended patio. I'm gonna try and see if they'll go up it. But a lot of people do on chain link fences and stuff, and they grow really pretty vines and really pretty flowers, and then they grow the
vines.
loofah.
I feel like are everybody's, at least for me. I'm going to make everybody's decision for them, but for me, vines are like the gateway to plants because they're the most exciting plant because they grow in weird ways, or the people are always using them on TV to rope shit.
Yeah.
Vines are they're the whatever Disney pumps out a dog movie, it's that version of that.
They're the Indiana Jones of plants.
Yeah.
I think we can say, yeah.
And then to a lesser extent, a Venus flytrap, whenever you go to a museum and they offer those in the gift shop. But vines are everybody's touchstone, I feel. Because there's always chain link fences covered in them. Everybody's got a grandma who's got vines all over the goddamn place.
Well, and
and they're awesome looking.
Yeah, you don't really have to do a lot.
Yeah, that's a part of it too. Is since they're so invasive, the only problem comes when you want to get rid of them.
Right.
Yeah. No, they want to kill you. I'm pretty sure.
Basically. But that's the great thing about vines. They're always looking to kill you, and that's what you want out of life. Is something always you want to be fighting for dominance, and that's what vines give you. Mm-hmm. Even someone with a brown thumb needs to fight for their life against a vine.
It's true.
Yeah.
So maybe do that. If you have a bad thumb, do a couple seasons fighting off some cat's claw vine or something. I don't know.
I recommend getting a snake plant. Those are super
easy.
Oh yeah,
snake plants are easy.
Indoor house plants.
Oh.
You have to make sure they're not toxic to cats, though. I have to look.
Mm.
You got to watch out for the animals because there are a lot of plants that are toxic to cats and dogs.
Yes. I'm aware.
Slowly pan camera over to Harlow's bed with a nest made out of these leaves.
Harlow, would you like some fresh herbs?
Salad, Harlow. Raspberry vinaigrette.
Love you. Bye.
So a lot of our indoor plants are tropical, aside from a few. And then I started a business where I sell air plants, which are not tropical. They just thrive on air. And
They're
some
weird.
Water. Mm-hmm. So I just started doing that recently. And that was kind of one of those things that went up to 11 for me. That was like, oh, maybe I should get a couple air plants and make some houses. And then the next day I'm like, I started a business. And here we are.
Basically.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been like everything else. It's been a tumultuous time, but tumultuous isn't always bad. It just means highly active.
Yeah, that's why I feel like I'm at a 7 or an 8 all the time. But I'm like a D10. It's like a D10 where it's just got a lot of sides. So I'm constantly like bouncing around all the different pieces of my dice in my brain, and eventually it all gets done.
Yeah, at some point. Yeah.
Yeah,
I get it.
but everybody's got their own thing. But that's part of it too. Is like you don't know what is going to grab you or how hard it is going to grab you until you stumble into that trap. That's part, like the human experience is stumbling into traps that are bad, but also ones that are good. Like everything you find that you love and want to crank up to 11, you found almost by accident, I can guarantee.
Yep.
Because when was the last time that someone introduced you to something and you went like to 11? I mean, that can happen, obviously, but oftentimes we stumble into something like completely by accident, because that's what everybody says. How did you get into blah? You go, well, funny story. I was wandering down the street and you had no connection to whatever reality you're in. It's always like, boop.
I don't even know how this happened. I don't know what, because I have killed an air plant before, and then I got another one for whatever reason, and I was like, oh, I'm going to make it a cute little crash pad house, little like thing. And then I was like, huh. Maybe I'll make more. And then I was like, maybe people will like this.
But the problem is, the flip side of that is, if you are a bright burning candle of many layers and different colors, it's easy to burn through that hobby real quick. Mm-hmm. Like you need to have a lot of fuel if you're going to crank it up to 11 and keep it at 11.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the stuff I used to do for fun, like the masks or whatever, highly labor intensive, and that's like a no now, because like, again, when am I gonna find the time?
This is like a 5.
Yeah, but this is like something that's not necessarily super labor intensive, or when it is, you get a lot done at once.
Yeah, no, I make my own assembly line for sure.
Laundry is constantly my 9.
I only have one day I do laundry, and that is it. And then I don't think about it until the next Monday. Every Monday, laundry.
Well, So Popeye, when we're talking about laundry, like, are you serious enough to have separate baskets for different colors, or what?
Well, we have multiple baskets, and yes, I do separate.
Okay. So if we're going to get into this, I have legitimate questions. So I understand, like, because my knowledge of laundry is highly rather contingent on how I saw it in TV and the movies. So I know you separate all your colored laundry and all your whites, but beyond that, it is uncharted waters.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Well, the temperature is important. The washing cycle is important. The drying cycle is very important. If they are darker colors, it's better if you turn them inside out, like with your jeans, or or like a sleeved shirt, or a t-shirt for that matter. Especially if it is a screened t-shirt, because when you put it into the dryer, the silk screen is going to wear out over time. Which maybe that's something you want, if you want it to look like you didn't just buy the shirt and
vintage.
Like it was like old school or something, but and it's very important. And I like to do my drying in more than one cycles, because you do it on like a lower, not gentle cycle, but a medium level cycle in the dryer.
Okay.
For maybe 40 minutes, and then you go back down and you kind of fluff it around. Also, important tip, especially with things that otherwise may need to be ironed, like your jeans or like a cotton poly shirt or something.
Your jeans need to be ironed?
Well, no, like if you want it to look like they have been, but
you
don't want to actually do that. So you take them out and you shake it.
Okay.
Get it unraveled, get it unclumped, and gently toss it back in. and then give it another like 40-minute cycle on a medium to low kind of situation. Perhaps you may need to do a third cycle, and
I'll
that's
second
okay.
that.
This is insane.
While this is happening, you could go about your business and take care of some other things, like wash the dishes or punch Harlow in the face or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure she can take one for the team.
And then you go back, and then you get that feeling of, oh man, this is like the best laundry.
So
ever.
let me ask
and
you
then
this.
I wasn't finished.
Oh, okay.
And then when you bring it up, that's an important part to separate it too, because anything that needs to be hung, hang that up immediately. Shirts, put them on their hangers right away. Bring that basket up. Underwear and socks, no one's going to notice if they've got a little wrinkle in them. So you toss those back into the basket. T-shirts go into a separate pile. Hang up your hang-up clothes. Jeans in one pile, T-shirts in another pile. I have a special folding technique. The jeans can be folded very quickly, but then the T-shirts, get that shit folded right away. Because when you pull that out of your drawer, you don't want to have a lot of wrinkles on your shirt. You don't want those creases because it's going to look like, oh, did you just like get that through mail order,
yeah,
bro?
That's the worst.
And then the underwear and socks, you do that last and get that all nice. But then everything smells so wonderful. You can light a candle or some incense if you prefer. It's a big fucking deal, man.
Yeah, I do light incense. So I will. We've
talked about coupons before and how important that is. Laundry's important too.
Well,
bro.
I've got an important question because we've got here's the thing. We've got fabric softener that goes in the wash, or those sheets that go in the dryer. Can those be used in conjunction with one another, or are you supposed to use them? Okay.
Well,
That's
yeah,
detergent,
the
not
fabric
fabric
softener goes into the washing machine. The dryer sheets go in the dryer.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I'm just saying, but they
Krista's on
ostensibly
the same page with you.
they ostensibly serve the same purpose, or as far as I understand, because they're both conditioning your clothes
They
in a
also
similar
prevent
fashion.
static. Like the dryer
No.
sheet prevents all the shitty static that too.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
My laundry, so we have gas dryer, gas dryer, and I fucking hate it, Popeye. I hate it.
Yeah,
it takes me all day to do 2 loads of laundry, and it is so annoying.
We'll do Popeye's thing. It seems like it'll get them dry faster,
Well, that's the thing.
or at least give you more time.
Basically, I do Popeye's thing because I have to run the dryer twice.
Yeah, but I like it because it's a gentle, like. Well, let me throw this at you. Do you want like a deep tissue 15-minute massage, or do you want a gentle 60-minute massage?
It depends on the day.
Well, maybe you
gentle?
need to reprioritize your days, because I don't like a wham bam thank you man kind of situation. Like, hey, I'll take 60 minutes. Yeah, if it's going to make my laundry like that great, then yeah, I'll take it. And maybe no one will notice except me, but it's going to make me so super happy.
Yeah,
just to feel it, and when you put that shirt on, yeah, it's going to feel great.
It was.
I'm sorry about your gas dryer situation, but you know,
I think
that sounds like kind of a personal issue.
Yeah, I know it is,
Krista.
Overall, I think it was a net gain because now that we have like natural gas piped into the house, which is something I've always wanted, like the cooking has made cooking with natural gas has made life so much better. Like I'm sure having long dry time sucks, but having evenly cooked and like wonderfully prepared food without the pain in the ass of like the waiting for everything to heat up, whether you have the glass top or those old coils, like that is dog shit forevermore.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I'm super jealous of that because our stove is electric and it's nice, but there's something about gas stoves.
The nicest electric range cannot compete with a mid-level gas range, and ours is a nice one.
Yeah, especially if you like to do like stir fry and like
oh my god,
and like
David's
a wok
stir fry
or something.
Is so good.
Yeah, like gas is it's superior.
It lets you do so many more things, and so even if I were forced to do the laundry myself and give up cooking altogether, I would still do it simply for the fact that it would still be getting cooked with gas. Like if Chris took over cooking expressly, I'm totally fine with that because it's so much harder to fuck up cooking with gas stoves than it is with an electric stove.
I don't know. I feel like I've managed to do it.
No. It's having
But I
done
love that
both.
sentiment. It's so much harder to fuck up your cooking.
Yeah, it is. Gas
So much harder.
Gas makes it hard for you to fuck up. You have to literally check out, and you can't because the part of the beauty of a gas stove is you never want to walk away from it because it's literal fucking fire.
Because you see the flame.
Yes.
You don't want to walk away from that.
With an electric range,
Exactly.
it'll lull you into this false sense of security because it's either glass or those coils, and you go, it's got whatever, and you wander away.
Yeah.
A gas range keeps your ass planted.
Yes, it does. Absolument.
So there you go.
Oh, there you go. Well, I encourage you to, Krista. You probably, I imagine you do the same thing. I know, David, you don't do much of the grocery shopping, but sniff the laundry detergent. Like I always, like I'm picking out a wine or something when I go to the grocery store. It's like, oh, what the fabric softener and laundry detergent am I buying today? I'll pull the cap off and like whiff it around a little bit and like, is this how I want it?
You know what?
No, I'm not feeling it. And you can't really do that with the dryer sheets because you got to rip them
Right.
off.
Right, yeah.
They frown upon that, so you just kind of have to take their word for it. But yeah, it's like picking out a candle. Or,
right. I'm going to double down on this with you, Popeye. Every time you go to a store and you have the opportunity to give something the sniff test, fucking do it. Like we cut out so much of our senses. I think that's an awesome just thing to keep in mind. Every time I buy deodorant, even if I bought the same one over and over and over again, I pop that cap I
do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Give it a good snootful. Like,
yes, I proudly walk into the Dollar Tree and I was like, well, do I want the Right Guard Fresh or do I want the here's the new Irish Spring scent? Well, I'm going to pop this off and take a little
or something themed around the ocean or something like that. Like I love Old Spice because every time you go in there,
a lot of ocean themed deodorants out there.
Yeah. Every time I go in, I love what it's like the deodorant aisle for me as an adult is almost like buying a package of collector cards as a child. And Old Spice is almost exclusively responsible. Axe started it, but Old Spice really took it. Because every one of their products has such cool artwork on it. It has wolves and bears and dragons and shit.
Right.
And an Axe had all of those cool colors and patterns and shit. It is a trip. But yeah, and I'll tie this in too. Now that I'm back, I got a motorcycle recently, and so I'm back on two wheels. But that's something I didn't realize I missed so much, is getting the scent of the outside world. We block that out with a car.
Oh my God, yeah. He comes in the house now after being on the bike. I'm like, oh, you smell like outside.
Yeah, and you can, and places, I drove down the same road my entire life and did not realize until I was on a bike and I was stopped at a stoplight that I'd been stopped at a million times. And I go, is that bread? And I look over and I'm like, oh my God, there's a bakery right here. I had no idea. And it's all, and especially now living out here, it's like whatever, they grow lavender and every time they cut huge fields of grass or hay or whatever, it just fills the air with all of these scents. And it's such a wild experience that we often just deny ourselves, either inadvertently or purposefully.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you got, sniff it.
Sniff it.
Yeah. If it turns out to be bad, at least, you had an experience.
Yeah. You sniffed, you liked, you disliked.
I sniff test my bath bombs before I buy them.
Yeah. Just
you sniff test your what?
Bath bombs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
They could say it's lavender eucalyptus, but I need to smell it first.
You don't know. You get a snoot full of life, and like it's almost like baked into our DNA, right? Like I defy you. Go get a job anywhere behind a desk. Put a candle on your desk. Have just a little piece of paper to write down the hash marks of everyone who comes in, and everyone who comes in, if they come in. If they pick up the candle, put a hash mark. You'll have as many hash marks as people because everybody sniffs everything. And I've seen it happen. And maybe we're getting away from that because I don't see a lot of candles anymore. And I don't see a lot of people sniffing stuff. It's a sense.
You can sniff the paper. Paper has a nice scent to it. Also,
one of the best smells is an old bookstore, especially if that bookstore is housed with a wooden skeleton, because the mixture of decaying of the wood with the decaying of the paper as time slowly takes its toll is such an intoxicating aroma. It smells important and smart.
Yeah. I think this is why actual books will never disappear any more than vinyl records.
No. As long as we
they have a scent.
As long as we have the sense of touch, we will want things like that. There's a bookstore in downtown Mesa that's exactly as I described. It is an old, built at the turn of the, last century, wooden bones, old
Creaky
books, wooden floors, the copper top stamped ceiling, and it is slowly returning to the universe one particle of dust at a time. But as it's happening, I get to walk through and smell all of it.
Yeah, it's worth it just to go in there just so you can. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Sniffing history.
There's that scent. Yeah, that's brilliant, man.
Yeah, and it's something you don't get unless it's literally hitting you over the head, or you're one of those people who are like constantly on high alert, like I am.
Yeah,
but
I get it. And just like you were saying, leaving the house is nice to do. Even if you're just going just running a quick little errand. When that old saying of getting a breath of fresh air, it's a real thing.
Yeah, it's legit.
And also then when you come home, you're like, what's that smell?
Right, that does help.
Okay, all right, I need to take care of that right now.
Yeah, for nothing else, it helps you there. It's worth the price of admission for that alone. Because just stepping outside, even if it's only your backyard, to cleanse the palate, to give your house a sniff, because eventually you're going to have guests, and if you're constantly inundated with some stink that is slowly grown, and you get to see the horrified faces to your guests, then you go, "What?"
It's very easy to get nose blind, as they say.
It's highly overlooked since it has nothing to do with sight. The sense of smell.
Yeah, it's important.
I just stop and smell the roses, I guess, everybody.
Yeah. Good call.
So Popeye, let's start wrapping it up. Do you want to recommend anything? Because it's staff recommendation time. You got anything coming up? You got anything you just want to get out there that deserves notice? What do you got?
I have nothing for myself, but I would love to say, check out Field Day, because they crushed it. It was an honor to play with those guys, and they've been out there busting their humps and playing out a lot. And I don't know who else to give a shout out to.
Live shows are coming back.
They're coming back, and so it was awe-inspiring to get to see them play.
Super cool.
And if you're thinking about getting an animal, don't shop, adopt.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get that out of the way. If you're thinking about getting a rabbit, do your research.
Maybe we should plug Heart too, because that'll be homeless animal
Eric and
rescue
JC
team
at Heart in Arizona. They are wonderful. If you have an opportunity, go check them out. Heart.
Yeah, so they're linked to us on Facebook, and also if you wherever store I have open right now, I'm trying to figure out which one works best. But any of our Be Like Popeye merch, all that proceeds go to Heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So every time you get, I'll put a link to that too.
Yeah, they do wonderful things, and we've had a few. If you're in the Scranton area, Street Cats at Naog Park. If you're a local, you'll know what that's about.
It's like Street Sharks.
Like Street Sharks, but they're cats.
Classic.
We've when you're a jet all the way. We've had a few strays show up in our backyard, and so we're in the process of trying to get them trapped and get them over to Street Cats so we can get them fixed and released. So
We have a lot of stray
If-
cats here in our neighborhood.
Yeah, well, my wife used to live in Phoenix for several years, and she got deeply involved. That's how she got involved with Heart and with Eric and JC. Yeah,
Eric's super nice guy too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're both just so wonderful, and they have a lot of heart.
Swish.
So yeah, if you if anybody who's listening has a few extra dollars, please donate to your local shelter if you can. That's about all I have to plug.
All right.
I go into these conversations not having anything to plug, and so I'm like, I don't know. I want to talk about laundry.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. The staff recommendation is open to all and sundry. You could have plugged your favorite brand of detergent and or softener and or whatever. That's the thing. Whatever comes to mind. It's kind of like a Rorschach test. Whatever's most present is usually what people talk about.
Well, if you want to talk about laundry some more, there are a lot of really affordable plant-based laundry detergents and plant-based fabric softeners. I know I'm speaking to Krista mostly here, and that are very, very reasonably priced. And they're better on the environment, or at least less harmful. As
Science
far as
is
drainage and whatnot.
hopefully going to get us there where everything is going to be as least harmful as we can get them as we know, which is not saying
little by
much.
little. Yeah, it gets there. So, just keep an eye out.
All right. Chris, do you want to recommend anything?
Well, I mean, since it's all I'm thinking about because tomorrow's my market, you can like my Facebook group called Grow On, Embracing Life's Beauty.
You can do that.
It's my airplane business. So there's that. I have a website with all my current inventory, and then it'll disappear if I sell things at the markets and stuff. So
Yeah, I guess I do this a lot, but I don't do anything. So I'm going to plug my other show, Raiders of the Lost Genre. If you like cheesy, 70s movies, all based around a lost world and or dinosaur and or species of some kind, we do those reviews, and it's been fun. I've been planting Easter eggs in the episodes, so maybe I'm putting something together grand scheme, or maybe I'm not. I don't know. But, it's fun. I feel like that show needs more views because it's worth it more so than just my solo stuff.
it's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny. Plus,
Word.
the sitcom intro that I did, hilarious.
Oh my God, they're the best one.
I'll link that to you, Popeye, because for nothing else.
Please do.
If you check out after the intro, my co-host Scott was game for it, and I'm like, hey, guess what? Here's what we're doing, and it came out great. So I'm always plugging that shit.
It was amazing.
Oh,
Right
man.
on. Yeah, please send that to me. I'd love to watch it.
All right,
Check
guys.
it, whatever.
So
Do it.
you totally
Do
will.
it.
I'll get it to you. So thank you, listeners, one and all, for coming and listening. Popeye, once again, thank you for coming on the show. It has been, as always, it's a pleasure getting to hang out with you, talk shit, laundry, stuff like that.
It's always a pleasure for me too. I love you guys so much, and it's always wonderful to catch up with both of you as well. And it's been a while, and so I'm glad we got to catch up.
Yeah, I'd like to put a bug in your ear about maybe doing a cover of Throw Me a Pallet on the Floor. It's a classic 30s jazz tune, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay, that sounds like a whole nother episode. So we'll get to that.
Possibly. All right. So once again, guys, thank you so much.
Send me a link.
Yeah, I will. I definitely will. It's always a pleasure, guys. Thanks so much for listening, Popeye, Krista, everybody involved with the show, everybody on the Discord and the Facebook. Thank you so much, and until next time, we'll catch you on the next episode. See ya.
Take care, guys.
Or they try to
Fistful of Podcasts Radio.